Today's not an ordinary day, bro. Today's not an ordinary day. And I think
Tell me about it.
I think it's important to be able to point out when days aren't ordinary, when the feeling of the week is not ordinary, when the feeling of the month and the rest of the year is not ordinary, because I really do think we're tapped into some serious powerful energy, some serious powerful vibes and direction, and a lot of it, this is our space to be able to share it with each other. This is our space to I've heard a lot of people compare podcasting to therapy, and I'm coming to therapy. I'm on my therapy chair today. But before we even get into all of that, we would be remiss if we did not welcome everybody to the All the Way Live podcast. This is nothing more than a conversation between two best friends, between two brothers. I go by the name of Zwe Gila.
Hey, Wagwan Don. Wagwan Don. Smiles Xavier.
Miles
Zay
Xavier,
Ocean.
baby. There's no A mic
Light
here. There's
work.
no B mic over here. It's none but just two brothers talking, whether it's one person or 20, whether it's one view, 20 view, like we're at 20 views now, and I'm proud of that. I didn't think we'd get to 20 views. I thought
20 views.
I'll keep this introduction going. That's 20 people for sure. We're happy with that. So whether it's one person, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, one view, 20 viewers, 30 viewers, 50 viewers, it don't matter to us. Every person is equally as appreciated, equally as welcomed. Welcome, have a seat, get a drink, and welcome to the All the Way Live podcast, baby. Let's get to it.
Man, slapping like this couldn't be nothing else.
You know what I'm
Certainly
saying?
couldn't be nothing else. Wagwan All the Way Live. Wagwan community. Wagwan people. I hope this podcast finds you well.
Indeed.
Man. So before we get into anything else, checking in, you let us know and don't feel normal. Something different. Dap in with us. Dap in with us. Wagwan with you, bro.
So if I'm dapping in, I'll dap in with the energy of somebody that is excited. Sundays are always family days, so I'm a man that is always eternally grateful to be able to end this week with my brother. This has been our first week of releasing a podcast, so now we're technically official podcasters, equipped with the accoutrements and equipment for it. And really, and really, bro, I'm just excited to be able to talk to you, talk to the people, and get some things off my chest.
Hey, bro. Hey, bro. Thank you for checking in with us, man. I bring the same thing, man. A wise man once told me, I am grateful before I am conscious.
Mm-hmm.
I am grateful before I am conscious. And man, I feel like I'm trying to embody that sentiment today, man. I have an amazing position and in terms of my job that allows me to be helpful to my community. I had an amazing opportunity to do that yesterday. So that was love. And then to be able to end off yesterday chilling with y'all, watching UFC, watch Adesanya whoop that ass.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to see. That's what I got. So everything is everything, man. Everything is everything, as they say, man. I'm coming to this with just nothing but positivity. Grateful for all the opportunities I have. Grateful to be talking to you. Mm-hmm. Grateful for the health and safety of my loved ones at this time and all this craziness. And trying to just push forward with optimism, man, as we move into the end of this year. And that's it. That's my dap in.
It does definitely sound like we're circling around the a theme of optimism, positivity, and things of that nature. And I definitely do want to get into that. And in order for us to be able to usher ourselves into the good stuff, I think it's best that we talk about the ugly things. And if we're going to talk about ugly things, nothing is uglier than that ass whooping that Adesanya put on Paulo Costa recently. Listen, bruh, we're avid UFC fans. I think that's important to be able to note out. Basketball fans too. Adesanya put in that work, bro. Adesanya put in that work.
I was so glad to see that, man. To be honest, like I think all of us, as we was chilling watching it, acknowledged that Paulo Acosta is a scary man, especially in that weight class. Like
I didn't agree with it. I didn't see the fear,
bro.
I didn't, and I think it's important because from the jump,
based on the weigh-ins, You said that having seen the weigh-ins, you looked at him and you were like, nah, he didn't look strong from the weigh-ins. That is the opinion of somebody that works out all the time. As somebody who does not work out all the time, that nigga looks strong as hell. So I looked at that nigga. I was like, that nigga looks strong as shit. Izzy is tall. Izzy built like Groot, low key. Izzy is built like Groot,
Izzy's
bro.
built like Groot, bro. That's real. That's real. So what I saw before the fight going in is I do know Izzy's very technical, and I heard somebody, I think it was Brandon Sharp, say this, and I thought it was the best way to be able to break, the best way to be able to explain how fighters prepare for something. They said that you can find many boxers that can replicate, many MMA artists that can replicate Acosta's style. You cannot find very many people that can replicate Izzy's style. And dude, I think things become different when the lights are on you and the cameras are shining and you're getting your knees chopped to bits. You're getting your knees just absolutely demolished and chopped.
Well, you also bring up an interesting point with that the way he chopped down that leg, right? In the Romero fight, which a lot of people argued was boring, he chopped at Romero's leg too. And in the end of the fight, when they gave him the decision, that's what he pointed to as, that was the game plan. I think we saw him do that in an even more effective way against Costa, and where it was clear to everybody that this was having an effect on him. It might also help the lighter little Brazilian skin might show a little bit more than
For sure.
What Romero was working with.
Bro,
but
like
yeah, man,
real stuff. I think like Izzy's like one of those, he's one of those people that fight like a video game character. You know, like when you watch video game characters fight and they're doing all this like cool stuff and whatnot. Like I definitely think Izzy is one of those type of fighters. And for me, watching that, it's, we had the conversation. I woke up 4 a.m. South Africa time to watch this fight with my boys, as we do for every UFC fight, get together with our vices. Naturally, and watch stuff. Absolutely fascinating, absolutely brilliant performance, a masterclass. I think pound for pound, Izzy might be up there as the greatest fighter. I think as the greatest fighter right now for pound. But then you start talking about boxing, and you include boxing, and then John Jones, and then it gets complicated. But top fighters in the world, you have to include the man.
I'm more than happy to put him in that class as like a fan of him, bro. Like, yeah, he's a beast. I love the way I love his energy that he portrays, like, to the fans. Like, it's beautiful, man, the way he handles social media. Even like style bender all the way down to the name and like the branding. It's all fire. I mess with it, which is why I was like nervous, you know what I mean? Like going into the fight, bro. But glad to see him prevail, bro. Nigerian, right?
Yeah, he's Nigerian. When we were watching the fight, my sister was watching along with, and she was saying that he's too cocky, he's too egotistical. I'm like, yo, this is a champion who beats people with his
I'm on
fists.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Series of friend of the show. But yeah, so we're busy talking about the character of champions, right? And so it brings up a very interesting conversation and point about, is there an ideal champion and like characteristic of a champion? If it's possible to even have that conversation outside of like UFC and like fighting, because I feel like if you're a fighting champion, bro, you need to exude fighting champion energy. You gotta be a bad mother. Shut your mouth. You feel me? So that's what I see fighting champions as. But like outside of that, I'm not sure if it still applies.
I think the beautiful thing, especially about fighting, is that it gets decided in the ring, right? So if you are the best fighter, then I think, and if you feel that way about yourself, then I think the confidence that you exude can take many forms and still translate into champion mentality, material, enjoyable to watch, right? So you have somebody like Conor McGregor, who everybody, I think, especially the UFC, appreciated as their entertainment value as the face of the UFC, when he was the champion. And then to see him get beat by Khabib, someone who doesn't, I mean, for what it's worth, speak English as much as well in terms of being able to interact with the media, but still be able to take on, this Russian champion with the Afro thing. People fell in love with that, I think, just as, readily, right? So I think that goes to show that you don't necessarily have to be the bravado.
Braggadocious.
Exactly. You don't necessarily have to be that. If you're a stone cold killer and you have the confidence of a stone cold killer, then I think however that translates, I think people will gravitate towards that if it's the truth. You know what I mean? If you really got that.
You gotta be truly a stone cold killer, is what I'm hearing. Like they can't be no cap in the raps.
Not if you are actual MMA fighter, G. Not if you actually have to go out and throw hands. Then like you can have cap, and I think that does work for certain fighters to build up a certain fight. But after that ass whooping, then that talk don't ring the same.
It don't ring the same. It don't ring the same.
An
No, but like,
interesting. Go ahead.
go ahead. No. You go ahead, G.
You sure? Because I was gonna take this bitch a little bit left.
Let's go left. I'm rolling with you. Let's go.
So what that actually made me think of was old dude with the rainbow hair in terms of
O'Malley, Sean O'Malley.
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Oh, I thought
You were still in fighting. You're still in fighting.
All right, walk with me.
I think he does. I think he has influence for sure, right? I think that's not a coincidence.
Rainbow hair. Listen.
I'm not.
How influence moves is
a correlation, if not a causation, right? That's what you say to be like data, like to be smooth on the data tip. Like there might be a correlation.
I can tell you went to school. I can tell you graduated college. Yeah, but
Hey,
connect those dots for me. Then, what do you see?
And just in terms of, I was just taking it from just in terms of like, what is a perfect champion, right? In terms of, there was an interesting juxtaposition, right? Comparison between Cardi B as like the king of like mainstream New York and Tekashi 6ix9ine before all the trial and the snitching and stuff like that, in terms of just like the audience he garnered in terms of music and in terms of antics and stuff like that. And to be at the top talking your shit, making fun of everybody, is that some might say that and people definitely gravitated to him as the champion, right? Or the king of rap, of clout, right?
Yeah. Which goes back to our conversation about clout, like what clout is and all that. But I think in regards to that whole particular situation, I think you can amass a large gathering and following of people who are just there to be able to witness your demise and to be able to witness your foolery and your demise. Like you will have an entire crowd of people cheering for your demise. That's the same way that they have a crowd of people that used to watch hangings and lynchings and cheer on, and they made postcards of that. That's real. They used to make postcards of lynchings in the US in not so long ago, the 40s, 50s, 60s. They made postcards of these things and sold them. You know what I mean? Next to children's books. That's a fact. So not to get political, not to get like, all black about it, but
Too late.
Too late. Yeah, I know, dude. I know. This whole podcast is about being too black. The all the way too black podcast.
All the way black.
All the way black podcast. But yeah, like people will gather around to be able to watch a disaster. And actually, I was listening to, I forgot which podcast it was, where they're speaking about how that's a natural thing, right? Excuse me. Now that's a natural thing is because like people, we like naturally we have to be aware of not only danger but also of things that can either harm us or harming themselves. It's just a natural reaction to, be it fight or flight or whatever the case is. You need to be cognizant and aware of things that are dangerous. And if you add an element of entertainment on top of that, then you have an entire, then that's a whole ass persona and whatnot that can have people cheer behind it but are expecting its demise at any point.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of like the connection I was making between like UFC, right, and Takashi is just that spectacle. I think that's exactly what you're speaking to, right? Is that
Mm,
people are drawn to spectacle and that moment of when we find out, is it real, and what's behind it, and then either like continuing to glorify that person or then reveling in like the fall of that person. And I think
yeah,
that's what's happening with Takashi, right? Is that we everybody, it built up when you play games with everybody, somebody's gonna stop playing with you. And everybody, I think, felt that and watched him rise to that point where it came push come to shove, and we're gonna see, well, are you real or are you fake? And it turned out that he was fake. And it's been really interesting to watch people see that, the reveal of, is the truth behind this champion? Is
yeah.
this your king? And
Is this
then,
your king?
is this your king? And there's nothing behind it. And then people go, oh shit, it's fake. And then, like you said, gather around to watch the spectacle of that fall, of that tragedy, of that, whatever
Yeah.
nastiness as you described it. So I
Okay,
think that's
so
go
if
ahead.
if we're here, right? Tragic falls. If we're at tragic falls, because this is a list making podcast, how about we get into, and we're freestyling this right now off the top of my head. How about we get into what are some of the most tragic falls slash bags dropped in let's say the last decade or two.
Oh, are we limiting it to like bags dropped in terms of like financial opportunities, or just like just jags in general, just like you missed it, bro?
I mean, you can take wherever you want. I think it would only be right for us to start by addressing Tory Lane's situation, even though that is pop culture in its own. But I think when we talk about bags dropped, it's
Damn.
you need to
Look how we
you
got here though. So organic. I love it.
dude,
Like, damn,
we should start a podcast. we should start
damn,
a,
G, like,
we should start a podcast.
cool. All
Um,
right.
how
We
you
here.
feel about that Tory Lane stuff? Have you listened to the album? What do you think? What are your feelings?
First, I have not listened to the album. Wait, no, not a fact. Matter of fact, first, um, thoughts to Meg. First, wait, and thoughts to Breonna Taylor in this moment, like more broadly, right? And thoughts to Black women and protecting them first.
Mm.
Cool. Like after that, nah, I didn't listen to that nigga's album. Um, I haven't kept up very closely to what he said. I waited to hear him respond, and what the snippets and little um like sneak dissing and subliminal shit that I saw did not speak to me paying his response much further attention. And then to hear that the album is quote unquote all he can say about it is in there, it's not the way to address it. It's not. That is fucked up. Period.
It's cowardly. Uh,
Um,
it's definitely cowardly.
it's
And
it's
yeah,
if nothing else, I would want to know more about the situation before even throwing even more adjectives on it. But it is not the way to address it. And what I did, so how I found out about that wasn't even until later in the day. I didn't even know the album dropped because I use Tidal, and I don't know if the album's even on Tidal, but I look every Friday for the new releases, and it wasn't there. Right.
yeah, it's been a very
So
weird
respect to that.
roll out for that album. With it's been very weird, but nevertheless, it's still number one on most DSPs. I think again, people really do enjoy watching a train crash, and this might be again one of those situations. It's absolutely again like if when a woman who has so much to lose, or just women in general, lead with evidence of their abuse and what they went through, I'm inclined to always believe it as a principle of mine, and therefore that seems like what that can be in the situation. That fact that the gun fragments in her leg match the gun fragments in her foot. Um, all evidence right now indicates that this person is guilty of that act. And if that so be the case, then this type of response to it is nothing but asinine, disgusting. It's very, it's backwards in the type of strides Black men are trying to make in proving their support for Black women, as we have done so with our Breonna Taylors and with our Sandra Blands. I think this falls definitely in the same caliber of importance when it comes to holding Black men accountable, and I think that's something that we as Black men don't necessarily do very well.
Damn. So I think, so I want to say, I want to give a little bit of like weird hip hop nerd background knowledge that I have about the situation that kind of contextualized this move for me. But then I think you hit on something very important in terms of accountability, and an interesting conversation we can have about like rap and violence, right? And the type of glorification versus just talking about your experience. But first of all, man, so this Tory shit, right, ain't the first time that I seen him do some sucker shit, bro.
Oh, I
And
know where you're going with this. I know where you're going with this. Get up. You've been waiting on this one.
Nigga, bro. So, and I fuck with Tory Lanez, B. Like, from, if I remember correctly, like just from our group of friends, I feel like, nah, maybe you found him first with the Chick State mixtapes. But I remember the first New Toronto shit. I was like, yo, I fuck with that first New Toronto mixtape. I always thought like the rap shit was deeper to me than the R&B shit. Like, just in terms of what I connected with. But anyways, I was rocking with Tory Lanez for a decent amount of time. As somebody who's trying to like get into DJing, bro, Tory Lanez is a very like versatile artist with all it. Convenient is the perfect word, bro. Tory Lanez is super, super convenient for a DJ with all types of vibes that all types of people like bop with. But I was super disappointed on the rap tip when there was like, if y'all remember, bro, Tory Lanez was going back and forth, battling a whole bunch of people, including like Joyner Lucas and Don Q. And like doing pretty well, bro, like actually flexing like his rap skills. He's a talented rapper. But this other rapper who I won't name because of what happens later in the story, you can look it up though. You can look it up. Go on YouTube and look up Tory Lanez diss, and you'll know the one. This nigga is fire. So this nigga dissed the shit out of Tory Lanez, came at him correct as hell, bro. Like, but he was like a no name little rapper, you know what I mean? So, but like lyrically dissected the shit out of Tory Lanez, like it was fire. Next thing,
he had some bubble in Canada. I ain't gonna do him like that. He had a little bit of buzz in Canada.
Sure, but in terms of clout in the versus Tory Lanez, he was definitely the underdog.
The clout
but he
hierarchy.
did much right. But he did much better than Don Q, and he did much better than what's the other nigga?
It was Don Q. It was Joyner Lucas. Yeah,
he did much better than them. Next thing, a video surfaces online of Tory Lanez, presumably in Canada, pulling up on this nigga with his goon security, whatever, threatening this nigga. What if you have seen a nigga being held at gunpoint, nigga? You know that this nigga was at gunpoint. Nigga. You seen the focal
There's
point
no guns in the video, but that man is being held towards something.
Pulls up on him talking about apologize for the diss track. Now you've been dissing niggas back and forth talking about take all commerce type shit. This nigga came at you on just some hip hop shit and bodied you. The track wasn't like wild disrespectful. It was just a very, very good, insightful diss track. Made him apologize for it at gunpoint. When I saw that, I said this nigga's ego is fragile as hell. You know what I mean? For you to be out here trying to battle niggas. I took that. I didn't fuck with that move right there. As a hip hop purist, I ain't fuck with that move, bro. So
you've been complaining about this since it came out. Since it came out, you've been complaining about that. You were livid actually when you saw that video. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I'm a nerd, bro. Like I take that shit to heart, and as like somebody who cares very much about like hip hop lyricism, and was actually like happy to see Tory flex that muscle, than to see him respond to somebody actually being better than him in that way was some bitch shit. And now I just told that story basically just to inform, like, so when I've seen all of this, when this start to happen, when he said that he shot Meg, that story's in my mind. Like, oh, I'm already knowing this nigga's on some whack ego type stuff.
Driven by
So
ego.
yeah. And so I just like, I think it's just important to say that because I am the type of person, speaking only for myself, that when I hear these cases, I want to hear as much information as possible before we dismiss a person. People are still people. So I'm not too worried about dismissing somebody as somebody who has no legislative control to like put any effects on nobody. I'm not worried about being the last person to cancel somebody if they've made significant contributions to the culture. I want to have all the facts. So when I'm saying I'm dismissing this nigga, it's with all that context, which is why, like, so fuck that nigga. And we lift up Meg in this moment.
For sure.
All right. If I can keep running, because I had that
going.
second.
Please go.
That second point, cool. So the second point that I had was there are hip hop niggas that we do fuck with that are violence adjacent. You know
violence
what I'm saying?
That drug marketers.
But as somebody who like, you know, as a Chicagoan, bro, as a South Sider who like really fucks with Chicago drill music, there's something to be said for the experience of people that, as it relates to violence, being put on wax, those stories being told, and just the overall, like, that is a theme of hip hop, and I'm not like trying to skirt that. Like, that is something that we talk about. In terms of niggas getting shot, woo. There is, to a certain extent, I believe, like a an acceptance of, again, like the dismissal of human life in hip hop, right? Niggas get smoked on wax every day, be like
all the time.
So what is the difference? And I'll give my 2 cents, but I feel like I've been talking for a minute. So I want you to tell us what do you feel is the difference between what allows you to listen to that music and enjoy it and respect some of the artists that make that shit versus being upset at Tory actually shooting somebody.
Okay. And I guess so. If I understand what you asked, what allows us to be accepting of the violent content that usually places itself in hip hop, and where we draw the line in terms with this particular case with Tory Lanez.
This particular case, but also like kind of framing the question as, well, Tory Lanez shot a woman. So we're first of all upset because this is in this moment. Yeah, like that's one of our sisters. So there's that, and then there's also this whole moment of us trying to fight for
Another black woman
and establish right of the preciousness of the life of black women that has gone ignored. But in even a broader context, right? Like if Benny the Butcher capped a nigga for no reason or some shit like that over some dumb argument, are we still fucking with that nigga? Because in his music, like, I'm sure if you dug deep enough, you could find a line that says, "I will cap a nigga for no reason."
Oh yeah, for sure. I believe the name of the song might actually be called "No Reason."
In parentheses, cap that nigga. But like, and I don't want to make, and I say Benny because he's one of the first names that comes to mind as somebody that I fuck with that makes hard music that describes the realities of the streets. But I want to use him as like a scapegoat. I'm just saying, does that make the question make more sense?
I think anything that comes to gender-based violence is where we draw the line. And again, we're gonna keep going on this conversation because I have some ideas on it, but I find it hilarious that we like to start lists and then dismiss them very quickly into the list making.
You said this was a list making podcast, and I was like, we ain't making shit, but whatever, bro. Keep going.
It starts at 1, and then the list quickly dissipates very quickly. This is a list starting podcast, not a list finishing podcast. All the way started list podcast.
All the way started list.
For sure. And by the way, we're still looking for a fly name for the caption. So no list goes finished. It might be a great way to start it. So I want us to have a list of rappers who have talked about shooting people and have um I think, dude, gender-based violence, bro. Anywhere, anytime black women are being hurt, I think the coolness of any of that goes away. I don't think violence is necessarily cool, but I definitely see its reality in. I definitely see its prominence in the reality of the streets and things of that nature. So, definitely to a certain extent, people, we glorify to a certain extent. We pay people who do it very well, exuberant amount of money to entertain us as they do it. But I don't think anybody would want to see Israel Adesanya fight Amanda Nunes. You know what I mean? Even if she's a professional boxer, that'll be messed up. And so when we talk about where the line gets drawn in the violence of hip hop, and then where it starts losing its cool in real life applications, I think if the victim is not of the same ilk, I think then it loses its cool in the same way that you described Lanes and homeboy in Canada when you ran up on him. That's not the same person of that ilk. They didn't reach out to him on that same tone. You know what I mean? So he definitely was reaching for somebody outside, excuse me, outside of that realm of hood shit. So if we take that, cool. Um and women, dude. Anytime a woman is hurt in any of these situations, I think it's not cool. I think it's very uncool to hurt women.
Mm. So if I'm hearing you correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, what you're saying is that when we judge violence based on the who's engaged in it and who they are engaging with violence, and that person's preparedness to defend themselves, as well as their understanding of being a part of some group that might be receiving violence for some reason. Is that
Mm.
is that is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, pretty much. Dude, as we talk about violence, I can't get that video of the dude trying to rob the dude's bag out of my head. If you
Was that
haven't seen
violence?
it, is this a rehearsal?
We should find the link for that to put that in the chat, just to bring people joy,
Is this a
because no one gets
robbery?
hurt,
No
right?
one gets hurt.
In that video.
Stop hitting him like that.
So confusing.
And the dude gets mad. And how soft the other dude is hitting the other dude. Oh my goodness. It's
Bro.
absolutely hilarious. Yeah, bro. I think shit, dude. I think violence has a very prominent place in hip hop, and it's definitely never ever gonna leave that realm. Um it's fascinating. It's fascinating to watch. Do you think hip hop is becoming more or less violent?
Um, I don't. Wow, I guess that's a good question. I don't.
Is this the most violent thing that happened in hip hop? Meg shooting one of no,
No.
far from. I mean, Biggie, Pac, of course. Let's
Yeah.
talk. Let's talk from our decade. Let's start from the 2000s and up. The most. Let's start a list on the most violent things to
Here we go.
happen in hip hop.
Here we go.
Thumbnail: Zway Miles start list and don't finish any of
Yes,
them.
17 lists that have one thing on them. Damn. I don't think. No, I don't. I can't call it. Is what I would say. I don't think hip hop is getting more or less violent. I think it's kind of stayed around the same. I think I would venture to say that hip hop has gotten closer and played a larger part in actual interpersonal conflicts that lead to violence, right? So the fact that more people with just like can just create a little studio in their house and create a song means that just more people are making music in general, including
More people in the
people that are
marketplace.
that are actually like about that life. So more people that are actually shooting niggas are making songs about shooting niggas, and other niggas that are actually shooting niggas are hearing those songs and making songs back. And I think that those and shooting niggas back. So I think that is a real thing that's happening now more so than when it was was like just studios, when you had to be like involved in a studio to be kind of making music. I think
Yeah.
that created a bigger gap between like who was doing music and who was actually in the street perpetrating violence. I think that gap has gone away. But I don't think that means music has necessarily gotten more violent, because I think even before people creating the violence were had access to make the music, I think the people that were making the music were talking about the violence. So,
It's
and I
hard to
think that kind of
judge.
speaks to it's very hard to judge. It's very hard to judge. But I think that all kind of speaks to like my take on just violence in hip hop is just that I've seen songs about killing niggas. I've had songs about niggas dying save my life. Right?
Also,
Like
elaborate on that.
bro, like just like hip hop, there's an intro to Kendrick Lamar's The Heart where it's like, what keeps you alive, bro? And the guy goes like 2 packs of Marlboro Reds, 3 bottles of water, and music. Music keeps me here more than anything. I'm a dark person. Like I've considered ending it many times. Music keeps me here more than anything. I don't know, like, I mean, I've had
That
different
is The
dark,
Heart Part 3, by the way. Give it a look if you ain't seen it
yeah, or 2. I
yet.
think
Or
it's
two.
2.
Part,
But
yeah.
it's a, you know what I mean? And not to get like super heavy, like when I was gonna die, when I was gonna kill myself, like nah, but like on some real shit, like when I've had dark times, regardless of if it got to that extent of that like edge, bro, like when I've had dark times, like hip hop has saved me. When I've been frustrated, like playing hip hop has calmed me down and kept me from like doing a whole bunch of other shit. It has found the words to like soothe the wounds that when nobody else was there for me. So I've seen hip hop that is about violence, and I felt hip hop, and it's done that for my friends. I've had very honest conversations with friends that, you know, like in the same way that people turn to drugs, need music to like be okay.
Can I
And
interject
so a
and just
lot
point
of
out to the fans that what Miles over here is doing, if people ain't catching it, is telling Kendrick that The Heart saved his life, and so if Kendrick can come back 4 miles to help save his
full
life again,
transparency,
full transparency.
full transparency.
Go ahead, go
Hey,
ahead.
but even like more literal with it, like hip hop saved my life by Lupe. Like even that, even like, you know, hip hop, this music, this industry has been saving lives and lifting families out of poverty. And I've seen it do, and I've felt it and experienced it do more good than harm. I think there is a reality to be addressed about what I commented on earlier in terms of violence moving throughout music and being caused by music. Saw me give up
Yeah.
on that quick as hell. Being caused by music,
You bailed on that word quickly.
quick as shit. Because of everybody that has access to it. But a lot of times, if you are really listening, where there people are talking about what they live in, the conditions that they live in, and what they have to do. If you're like, I know a lot of the people who are commenting on this type of shit are not listening to a whole nigga's mixtape, but listen to that nigga's whole mixtape, because around song 8 or 9, you can get to the songs with the strings that explains the trauma and all the bullshit that this nigga has had to go through, that contextualizes
Yeah.
everything.
Usually
So,
starts with the piano. And
yeah,
starting
you know what I
bars
mean? That's
include
not.
"As I Reminisce,"
Mm-hmm. Yep.
etc.,
Damn.
etc., etc.
Can't believe that you gone. Yeah. But that's real shit, man.
Can't believe that
Come
you
on,
gone.
man. Come on, man. But that's real shit. Like
Yeah.
niggas are losing their best friends at the age of like 12, and that like niggas are really like experiencing traumatic events, bro. And hip hop is an outlet. Hip hop is it's a means of like just positivity, even in expressing negativity. And so the argument about hip hop doing more harm than good with relation to violence doesn't hold up very far to me. But I just think that it's important to address it when those
Yeah.
moments are colliding, and to talk about it. So
You said hip hop saved my life. And I think that's the perfect segue into a conversation that was really burning up last week, which is Lupe saying that he's better than Kendrick. Now, I can go on wax and say that I have yet to meet a bigger Lupe fan than yourself. So I've been very excited to be able to come and have this conversation with you. Um, and I know you're a big Kendrick fan as well. What you don't see is one of these art pieces here is a Kendrick album, Good Kid, Mad City. I consider that in my top 5. Kendrick is highly ranked. I've gone to see Kendrick live with you 2 times. Once in 2014 at the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, and then again in Las Vegas in 2017. We went to go see Lupe Fiasco.
Good lord.
I was sorry, we went to go see Kendrick Lamar off of the Damn Tour, so we are big fans. You are the biggest fan that I know of Lupe Fiasco. React.
Is Lupe better than Kendrick?
That's the question.
Lupe raps. Lupe. It depends on what you want out of a rap. If you want metaphors, if you want, Lupe can write a deeper rap than Kendrick, but Kendrick can connect with more people. So
Let's have a
I think
list
we're
on
there.
who writes the deepest raps. And then
Okay. Ready? Kendrick, Lupe. All right, cool.
Cool.
Now let's
Next
make a list of
list.
who writes. Bruh.
Lupe and Kendrick, like, look, B. There's so much Lupe music that people are not privy to that is masterful. You know, I mean, we're talking Fahrenheit mixtapes. We're talking mixtapes on mixtapes on mixtapes
It
that
was
Lupe.
written The Exam, Lupe the Jedi,
Keep
Return of the
going,
Jedi.
keep going,
Yeah. Trials and
keep going.
Tribulations.
For
Go
sure.
find these mixtapes.
Undoubtedly, Lupe Fiasco is one of the best people to do it. Mural to me is still one of the best hip hop performances that I've witnessed in a very, very long time. Now, if we're talking about who's better, I think that the conversation about the value of public appeal is a controversial conversation to have in hip hop because of where it tends, because public opinion tends to sway at who has the most public appeal. Right now, Lupe after Food and Liquor, that's the first studio album. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
Food and Liquor is the
Yep.
first studio album. After Food and Liquor, commercial appeal definitely was reduced significantly after that. Finally hitting its zenith and downfall at the same time on Lasers, the album. Now, is Lupe better than Kendrick? Is a difficult question because, as you said, are we talking on a technical basis? Are we talking on a public appeal basis? Where does hip hop rank that? I would not find it difficult to say yes, Lupe is definitely a better rapper than Kendrick.
I think, yeah, I think Kendrick, I don't want to confuse like public appeal and popularity with the ability to connect, like the ability to resonate,
Mm,
right? So when I say Kendrick can touch more people, I think Kendrick has the ability to write a song that if you have 1,000 people, 800 of them are gonna feel what he's saying, and they're gonna want to download, keep, play that song. But I think there's something to be said for that, being able to resonate with people. Lupe is going to be able to write a song where those same 1,000 people hear it, and 400 of them like are think about it, and then are mind blown. Interstellar, Inception.
mm,
You know what I mean? But the other 600 people either thought it was cool or just didn't get it.
mm, mm.
Whereas there are only 200 people left out of the Kendrick one. But what's a more impressive feat? Kendrick can bring you I don't want to say Avengers Endgame. It's like deeper than that versus like the Prestige or like, you know what I mean, like Interstellar, right? Man, but I would just say that Kendrick is going to be able to connect with more people, whereas Lupe is going to be able to provide an intricate puzzle that is going to mean so much to the people that get it and nothing to the people that don't.
I paint cold pictures like
Nova
condensation
Scotia. Oh,
landscapes.
dude, so many.
There's too
He did
many.
that twice in that song. We both did both of them. He did. I paint cold pictures like condensation,
A
and then
Kool-Aid facing
condensation.
condensation next to compensations. Like whatever is some deep, complicated stuff. Y'all should look it up. Y'all should look it up.
But also, I paint cold pictures like Nova Scotia landscapes. What's a
Yeah.
coffin with a scratched ceiling? Nigga, what is a
Y'all,
coffin with a scratched ceiling?
I feel like we need. I think we need to talk about what a coffin is with the scratch ceiling. I feel like that question was posed and nobody answered it. What is a coffin? Can you play Mural for us right quick? Can you find Mural and just run it for right quick? I think that's a good place to go, because like if we're really talking about like who's a better rapper in terms of putting words that rhyme together, and we're bringing out the best of the two, then bringing out Lupe's best, I think this is one of those things this is one of those songs that we have to pull out that are the best. Let's run that Mural, Lupe Fiasco. All the Way Live podcast. Let's go.
We're all chemicals, vitamins and minerals, and Vicodin we're in the tubes wrapped around the arm. To see the vein like a chicken on the bond. Top cat chat, let's begin another yawn. Let's flying sausage cheese, or is it chicken palm? Roosters don't fly like boosters don't buy. So what powers cowards to get them to the top? Just to fall asleep, listen in the Bach. The ribbon in the sky is the ribbon that I drop. Dribbling the eye across the prism of a clock that lacks meaning, but racks up stacks of fat reading to catch cheap and wrapped up plants from trap dealings. Now what's a coffin with a scratch ceiling? And what's the talking without the match feeling? That's berry living and cherry picking every lemon from your berry system, then proceed with the pack feeding. I like cartoons, southern cities with large moons, faith healers, ex-female drug dealers, and art booms.
Speaking of ex-female drug dealers.
No, don't do it. Stop it. Right there. Stop it. Stop it. We're not that live. We're live, but we're not that live. Calm yourself.
I miss you, girl.
Calm yourself.
I miss you, girl.
This dude bugging. Gets a podcast while talking about his ex drug dealer females. Listen, dude, this is a serious podcast.
Shake it out.
And we're a serious
bro.
podcast, and we answer serious questions like, what's a coffin with a scratch ceiling? Somebody tell me, please.
There's some amazing lines in that song, man. Dodging rain and catching hail.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's absolutely spectacular. If you haven't given that track a run, Mural, absolutely brilliant. And then if we're gonna talk about who's the best at putting those words together, I mean, it's either way you want to cut it. I think I definitely think there's an art to public appeal, but I don't think that artists need to be penalized if that is not necessarily their focus with the art that they put together. I think Lupe Fiasco has preceded and has elevated past the need to be able to be commercially viable in order for us to be able to appreciate his skill, which is why he can rap about dinosaurs and we'll all be like, oh damn, yeah, nigga, that's not hard. But in terms of who can stay at the top for the longest, look, K Dot is quiet now, but if we want to bring our most formidable people forward, then K Dot has to be one of those people, I think.
Absolutely. I think at a certain point, and it's very interesting when you talk about like rap skill, right? At a certain point, you look at all the sliders that you can have in rap, right? Lyricism, flow, relatability, braggadocio, realness, right? You look at all the sliders that you can have in rap. Lupe's intellectual slider, Lupe's lyricism slider is through the roof. But at a certain point, if you're not invested in hip hop enough to be among those who are caught by within his relatability slider, then he goes over a lot of people's heads, and a lot of people don't care to listen to him. I think Kendrick hits the target in terms of having a lot of those sliders just at the point for you to be a superstar in the game. And so which of those things is more valuable to you depends on what you think about hip hop and what you take from it. But
part of the show where we take user suggestions on what to speak about. This is usually reserved for pop culture things. This is not something that I enjoy doing, but here we are nonetheless, right? And the coronavirus vaccine could result in 500,000 shark deaths.
nigga, let's talk about that, nigga. That's that fire. All right, shit. You said 500,000 sharks.
How
nigga?
many? What? Look, the real question is, how many of what?
How many sharks
is willing
are
to
there?
be? The question. And we went shark cage diving, by the way. I think that's important to know. We went shark cage diving in Cape Town. How valuable is this pandemic? How many animals are we willing to lose? And Peter better chill on all of this.
Nigga.
It's all
Wait.
hypothetical slaughter.
Damn, nigga. Hypothetical slaughter is a fire band name. What is the what did you say 500,000 sharks might die?
500,000 sharks, dude. How there's more than that. There's more sharks
That
than
hits so
500,000.
hard. That's such a big number, but I'm like, damn.
What if the cure for the pandemic is literally shark, like the tears of shark as they die, like that.
Shark tears, nigga.
Death tears, shark death tears.
Shark death tears. We're in trouble then. We're in trouble then because a lot of the sharks are dying. But like, I seriously asked myself, like, bro, how many sharks is it? And then I reached in my brain for where that information might be, and like there was nothing. You know when you fall in a dream and you wake up, that's what it felt like to reach in that part of my brain. Like, nigga, you ain't have no shark information, nigga.
There's no shark information. You're busy flirting with the girls that were on the shark cage diving trip instead of focusing on the shark information.
Bruh, every Shark Week, I was not focused on the sharks. God damn it.
Bro,
Shark Week's important.
Like, honestly, how many of any animals are there? Like, if we can actually, that's a decent game to start playing, dude. Try guessing. Try guessing
off the cush.
Let's guess. How many sharks are there? Go ahead and guess. Let's just guess the number of sharks
in the world.
Yeah, in the world, dude. Where else are you gonna measure them from, dude? Where else are you gonna measure it from? This dude said, "In the world, nah, bro. In all the universe, dude. How many sharks are there in the universe, dude? Don't exclude the space sharks, bro. Don't exclude the space.
There's literally everything in space, Morty. Damn. How many? I just did it again. How many sharks is it, nigga? Ain't shit up there. How many sharks is it? It gotta be. If 500,000, if we might lose 500,000, it gotta be like.
I got that.
It gotta be like 1 billion sharks. It gotta be 1 billion sharks.
You're right, bro. There could be 1 billion or more sharks in the oceans around the world.
Nigga, come on,
500,000 can go for the virus. 500,000 can go. If I had $1 billion, dude, and I spent 500,000 of it, I would call that a good week, a good weekend, dude.
Nigga. It depends on what sharks we losing. Are we losing little baby sharks? Or are we losing nigga? This did not just become the Shark Doo podcast, nigga. That quick,
for sure.
But it depends. Are we losing big ass like Jaws motherfucking sharks? Or are we losing like, you know what I mean? Are we losing hammerheads? Like, which ones are we losing, bro?
Look, bro. There's 1 billion of them. We can afford to lose. We can afford to lose a few.
Look how many just figured out how many sharks it was in the world, Craig.
This is the content that you can expect to get from here on a weekly basis. We be educating people.
Check it out, nigga.
Okay, let's do how many
All the Way Shark podcast.
How many mountain gorillas are there?
Mountain gorillas? Well, damn. Okay. Well, how many mountains is it? You probably figure like 15 gorillas per mountain.
What? How did you get to that number? You said that with so much confidence. You probably figured 15 gorillas per mountain. I bet, bro. Roll with that logic. How many mountains are we counting, bro?
It gotta be like 10,000 mountains. 10,000. It gotta be like 150,000 mountain gorillas, bro.
Oh my! It's just you said it with so much confidence. That's what makes me so mad, dude. There's gotta be 15.
Google it, nigga. How many mountains?
There's gotta be
in the world. It's close to 150,000.
I figured there's about 15 gorillas per mountain. What was your guess? What was your number? How much did you guess? How much did you guess? What was your number?
150,000. 150,000 mountain gorillas.
Mountain gorillas were once expected to be extinct by the millennium, but today the total number in the wild tops 1,000 gorillas.
Damn, I overestimated. Less than 15 gorillas per mountain.
Yeah,
Four
turns out
gorillas per mountain.
Turns out there's less than 15 gorillas per mountain. Oh my goodness. This is not a punch-in, and that's how many animals that we last said they are in that place of the world. Definitely not 15 gorillas per mountain. That math is all wrong.
Too many.
There's too many. You got too many gorillas on that mountain.
I overshot
brother.
it.
You got too many gorillas on that mountain, brother.
They be fighting. I should have thought about that.
You need to come up. You need to get rid of some of those gorillas on your
That's
mountain.
an odd number too. One of the gorillas is gonna be like left out. Ain't gonna have a mate or nothing like that. Third wheel ass gorilla. Odd number. I was wrong on that one, bro. It's probably more like 4 gorillas per mountain. That's what we came to.
I don't want to expose how much I know about the primate kingdom because I'm in Africa right now, and I don't want that to be the prevailing theme of this content as I come through with all the Africa animal facts. However, I do know
When stereotypes ring true is definitely another episode of this podcast.
I do know from Sir David Attenborough that primates have a very complex social hierarchy, actually, like an extremely complex social hierarchy. Monkeys, there are some monkeys that literally just get drunk. Like they save up these fermented fruits and then they take them and get wasted. They have sex for joy. There's monkeys that get blowjobs.
And niggas argue against evolution.
Damn, bro.
This is not another punch, man. This nigga said some wild shit about niggas and monkeys, so we had to punch it again. And we back, goddammit. Hello. All live. All good.
Whether it's one person or 1,000 people, thank you for joining us today from the top. That's not the way to go.
We down to 13.
Hey, brother, I'll tell you this, man. Because we did start off with positivity, and I do definitely want to be able to touch on that theme. There is something to be said about especially in like this journey that we're going on, is becoming podcasters and getting our faces out there and changing. There is something that's going on. There's something to be said, better yet, about the value of being able to reinvent yourself and what that means and what that looks like in today's day and age. And as people in this podcast that are going through a process of reinventing themselves, it's hard for me not to be able to look through successful figures in history and see that they all had the most successful. Look at Siri coming through. Siri, get out of here. I really need to turn that off.
End of the show.
The most successful people in history have had the ability to be able to reinvent themselves. And I think like a key component to reinventing yourself is being comfortable with the notion of people's opinions not matching with the person that you want to then become. I think that's like a very key part of being able to reinvent yourself. So I am learning as I am in that process, you know?
Can you say a little bit more about that? About people's expectations not necessarily matching Can you run that back that bit back?
I mean, like, and I'll take it even further than what I said before, B, which is the fact that change is very difficult for people to be able to comprehend, right? Change is extremely difficult for people to comprehend. And so when I think people's 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 rejection of change comes in their inability to be able to accept the change that they need to be able to make in themselves. And so when they see somebody making that change and reinventing themselves, natural self-preservation immediately pushes people to reject any of that change that is being made. But that is a that response is a normal function of being able to reinvent yourself. The whole, oh, y'all guys are going to try podcasting, ooh, you guys think your conversations are that fire, ooh, whatever. But the difference is, and where that line comes, where that line of separation comes to play, is who's willing to work the hardest for it. Who's willing to really put in the time to be able to grow things organically and learn and continue to feed into a client base. And I think we're at that point. But it's a fascinating thing to be able to observe the, let me not say the pushback, but so much as the the lack of embrace with this particular re what's the word I was using earlier on, damn it,
Reinvention, rebranding.
reinvention.
You rebranding?
I'm not rebranding, bro. Would you call what we're doing rebranding?
Well, that's where I was going into it, because I would really like for you to talk a little bit more about how you feel what we're doing now. I mean, obviously, to start a podcast is to broadcast your conversations. So that is a new medium that we're trying out. But can you speak a little bit more to how you feel this moment now, what we're doing, the space that we're in is different from previous moments and previous spaces that you've occupied, and that the expectations that people have come to set around who you are?
In that sense, right, is that I think a lot of the times the reinvention that I've had to do in my career and in my personal capacity has allowed me to be able to have work that has nothing to do with me be the prevailing content that is going out, right? So let's go from being a young analyst to becoming energy chamber director or whatever. That reinvention is just because the work, that's an easy pivot, because the work is distant than who I am. I'm the vehicle in which the work comes in. If a deal is getting signed, what we're talking about is that deal. We're not talking about ourselves, right? And so it's easier for people to be able to champion something that is not necessarily related to who you are, because it is distant. You know what I mean? It's distant and whatever the case is. But when you want the value to be who you are and your thoughts and ideas and content, which I think is something that creatives struggle with very, very much so, that's where it starts becoming, that's where I think a lot of the fears that come into play are, become prevalent, and the second guessing and all of these emotions that come with being vulnerable in a public manner come to play. How have you been feeling in this process?
Um, it all it's familiar to me in the sense that this is something that I'm wanting to commit to, like, give this a real honest run. I think these conversations can be important and don't always have to be, but I feel connection to this process. I It's reminiscent of when I was putting together Tapestry on Wax, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was this idea of, well, similarly to this podcast, right? I was putting together, like, damn nigga, like, I don't even talk about myself like this, but yeah, nigga, I put together a mixtape. I was rapping and shit. No cap, like, if I can get my shit off, bro, like, I'm a fire ass rapper, but like rap actually the ability to rhyme words, and kind of this ties into even the Lupe and Kendrick conversation that we had in terms of
Because you're part of that
Lupe.
conversation, right?
I'm not. Could I have been? Could my can my pen be? Can my pen be? I would honestly leave that up to the few niggas that have heard me to decide. But what I will say is that in terms of realizing that early on in that project, that I didn't want to do it in the way that was going to get me the most clout, garner the biggest following. I'm boring shit out of it. See, as soon as I started talking about my mixtape, niggas got bored. That's why, because it was too black, it was too motherfucking conscious, it was too like, but that was a conscious decision, right? That was
too black and too
was
conscious.
deciding,
is
like,
this podcast, by the way.
maybe at times, but like, and it was also produced horribly, nigga. Like, it was like production wise, that shit was like trash as shit. Like, my lyrics are fire. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Like, I can rap, but I just the production was trash on that shit, and I didn't commit to that in the way that I'm committing to this. But what's familiar and what I was saying, it was a conscious decision, right? When I put that mixtape out, it was in the moment of like mumble rap. It was very much a departure from everything I felt like would potentially have a potential to blow up. But it was things that I was feeling. It was I wanted to push myself in writing things that I felt were wholly like true, whether or not they appealed to people. And I only mention that to tie that into this, is where this does not, for me, necessarily feel like a departure from the shit that I've been on. And I think when we kind of like alluded to maybe the loosest of frameworks to what we might talk about today, we started with like, is this a reinvention, or are we back for the first time? And for me, it feels like a nigga back for the first time. It feels like I kind of put my stuff a little bit out there, but I slacked on the production tip because I think part of me wanted an excuse for like why this shit wasn't going to work. And I was just tired of looking for the right fit and trying to get it right. But this to me is very familiar in terms of like, I don't expect niggas to jump on the bandwagon of this just because some niggas they know is putting some shit out. Like, I think we're going to have to hone our craft to get to the point where, you know, that point that we kind of discussed with Kendrick, right? Where a broader, if 1,000 people hear it, 800 people connect with it. I think where maybe at the point where if some niggas that really are on the same wavelength that we're on vibe with it, they might get it. But that might be 200 out of the 1,000. And I think that's a beautiful foundation to build. But I think we also want to hone our craft to get to the point where, you know, we are more relatable, where we can garner more of a following, bring more people into this community, be more conscious of the perspectives we bring and the perspectives that are lacking in here, and make space for all of that. I think there is growth on growth to be had from where we are in this podcast now. But hopefully I'm super appreciative of the few people that get it from the jump, see the spark that we have right now, and are fucking with it. So this feels like an even more committed version of me actually being like, oh shit, like this is me. I don't expect people to fuck with it, but it's out there and it's naked and it feels open to all that criticism, all that. Nigga, you doing a podcast, nigga? I hear you talk, nigga. I'd be like, whatever. But like, you know what I mean? We're open to that. It's a flame flickering in the wind that is in danger of going out, but it is a spark. And I fuck with everybody, and I appreciate everybody who has hit us up, public or even on the low tip, just to be like, yo, keep doing what you're doing, man. So I'm down to keep pushing this.
Definitely.
For me, it feels like back for the first time.
For sure. And I find it interesting that the people that my closest friends and whatnot are, that's going to be the last set of people to be able to catch on to the wave. You know, I think the people that are closest are going to be the last people to catch on, which is exciting. You know, I think it's important to also count out that, you know, we've reinvented ourselves before, you know, from going to corporate into what we are now, into the executive roles that we are now, into being the activists that we are now, into being the executives and CEOs and the philanthropists that we are right now. That in its own was a whole image rehaul. So we've done this before, you know, and it's important to be able to let you know that steady heads, steady hands is what's going to get us through. And we're definitely within that same mindset. So, you know, from we promise growth. And I think you know, even seeing the new tools and the new setups coming along, that is our commitment to that growth. And the content will get better, the engagement will get better. We are nothing more than just people, two brothers, two best friends, try to be able to have the things that we find interesting be pushed out into the forefront of what people enjoy, and you know, hopefully have people enjoy that with us, man. And that's the journey that we're on with this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. And when you
Having a
speak,
mic makes you talk different, makes you talk a little
yeah,
more
think
sexier, you
so?
feel me?
Think so? Hey, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Is Tyra around? Aim that sexy at her, bro.
Nah, I'm
Shit.
sorry, Pimp. I'm sorry, Pimp. I don't know what our whole audience encompasses.
This nigga's aiming sexy at me and shit. You better not be aiming sexy at the audience. I'll tell Tyra on your ass, goddamn. That's for
Nah,
me to
but
do, audience. But
yeah.
real quick, what I would like for you to do, like you mentioned the word journey, right? I would like just break down for us like how you feel those spaces have been different from corporate, from um to this more from corporate to the entrepreneurial to the philanthropic, right? Like talk about those the different you said you feel like you've done an imagery haul in each of those phases. And like I just want you to speak a little bit to that.
I wouldn't even call it an imagery hall, bro. More so than it's just a repurposing of priorities and of intentions and of time, right? So I think the most valuable thing that any of us have is the time that is allocated to us in a day. We all have a certain amount of hours in a day to be able to get the things that we need to get done. And it's basic math that which you put enough of your time and energy to is that which will grow the most and subsequently lead to the fall and or death of other things, right? Which is why good habits are the best cure for bad habits, right? Because your time is spent putting into good habits. So when it comes to moving in from a corporate space into the space that we're in now, this is, you know, I don't want to call it a repurposing of imagery, because we consciously decided to back away from things that were based on image and of surface level reflections of the work that we're doing, kept it quiet. You know, we bit down on the mouth pad, we bit down on the mouth guard, and we went to work, right? So I think now it's no, you know, it doesn't feel so much as a resurgence, as a repurposing of image, more so that it is presenting the work that we've done. We've been trying to get this podcast honed in for over a year, right? We have over 20 something episodes, some of them in different countries, that we've recorded to be able to get to the point now where we feel as comfortable as we do speaking with each other. The flow is there, the understanding of the timing in our conversationality, and it's all piecing itself together on the back of a lot of work. And it's the same thing with the activism. It's the same thing with the entrepreneurial thing. It's a matter of biting down, working very hard, and then letting that work speak for itself at the right time. And I think it's being afraid of how people accept, not being afraid, but you know, there's always that, or maybe afraid is the right word, right? Of when you are vulnerable in what you have spent all of your time doing and how it's going to be received, you know. For sure.
See, I think appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, dog. I appreciate being able to ask you questions and knowing that you'll be able to, you know, just that the truth of who you are and what this is will be able to come out in that. So I really wanted you to speak on, especially like that work. I think for you, especially that work, that commitment to, I'm in this space, I'm going to give this space everything I've got, has a through line, right? So when you talk about reinventing yourself, when you talk about a rebrand, the reason that I kind of like, we back for the first time, nigga, like that's the reason I feel like that is because for each of us, right? In different ways, there's been consistency and there's been a through line. I see, as somebody who hasn't ever really interpreted or experienced had the Zway Gila experience through social media, right? I see a very clear through line of consistency and hard work in dedication. What has shifted that dedication. Right now I'm going to build up this corporate structure, but it ties into what I want to do philanthropically with Mendulo. I'm going to build up this social media sphere for a moment, but it ties into what I'm doing with the energy chamber and trying to build up this space. I don't, and even now I'm working in podcasting and trying to figure out what we can do with this. I think building a community, reaching out to people, sharing resources has been a part of everything that you've done in each of those phases along the way too. And so I feel like it doesn't ring true to me that rebrand or reinventing yourself. I think this is way in a new medium, in a way that you've spoken to earlier when you said shit, don't lose it. You said this is like the you and not about anything else. But and I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like even in this being you being the face of it, I think there is that you're a community oriented person, right? So even this podcast doesn't stop at Zwei. It continues that circle of community, of resources, of connecting people, of being a Black man in a space where people don't necessarily expect to see them. In this case, a vulnerable one on a podcast, but in another case, perceivably successful one as the energy chamber lead at 25, 24. You know what I mean? Surprising
a
people.
foundation owner, a investment management CEO, you know what I mean? These titles are very important because these are titles that we've built and we've given for ourselves. But you know, in this, but I, you know, you say, let me not say you say, but I respect the same thing when it comes to your shift, because you had to make a very serious shift, a shift that's required a lot of sacrifice when it moves from being somebody that's, you know, well paid, living in Chicago, as, you know, graduating out of one of the top universities and being in corporate, and then shifting completely into being a community organizer, one of the youngest that is doing it in that field, right? That in its own also takes a huge reinvention and realignment of oneself. So do you see any similarities in the move you had to make there and now what you're doing with the podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the biggest transition, right, for me has been, regardless of everything I've ever done, it has been no, like, put my face out there as little as possible. Be in the background. Even with the mixtape, the album art there was no promotion behind it. And for a lot of reasons, I think part of me was like, just felt deep inside that this wasn't yet the right medium for me to get my stuff off. But I think the biggest transition in this has been, now my face is out there, bro. Like, I got to stand on everything I say. I got to stand on everything that goes out there as somebody who is available to the community, is somebody who is like, I'm out here. You know what I mean? And like, that has been a big step for me, just in terms of rethinking, shifting my brain to even like consider what works and what doesn't work as far as social media, as far as engaging with a project that I'm invested on in that space. I think, but similarly to even what I was saying about you, I think it doesn't feel true to say I'm reinventing myself, because there's always been this through line of like, I feel like, and I seem soft to say, but like, I'm a person that's built on love, right? They say there's lovers and fighters, and like, yes, I will fight your ass, but I'm a lover.
I will beat you, but I'll hug you if I need to.
If I have to, you know what I'm saying? But like, I feel that my truth is just that, like, the love that has been shown to me from it is I'm able to just like, I have a deep, like, just inclination to just like give it all back. I feel when I receive a lot of love, I feel uncomfortable. When I'm the center of attention and when people are showing me love, like, I appreciate it, but I have just this urge to like just give it, fling it all back in the community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so even when working in corporate, there was always an underlying sense of get what you can out of this space, and give back. You know what I mean? Even when I was in college, and that caused a lot of conflict in like my priorities, but it was get what you can out of this space and give back. And now I find myself here, and that through line rings true more than ever. is that everything I get, all the positivity, all the love, every little bit of it, I'm trying to give it back in every way that I can. And I see this podcast as potentially a way to do that. So
Yeah.
back for the first time, for sure.
And I'll tell you, as you know, what makes things very easier with transitions in life is the people that you surround yourself with. I think there's a massive amount of value in how one can reimagine their life, their purpose, their values by being surrounded by people that are passionate about that. This, it's easy to look now at it's easy to look now and see the foundation and see all the work that we're doing and to assume that that's something that came out of thin air. But the reality of it is that the pressure to be able to make that a priority and the influence definitely came from seeing your commitment in moving and in being a community manager and to be a leader in your community and spending your time in understanding the community and serving them in manners that are relevant and that are valuable, right? And so the value of surrounding yourself with people that are doing the things that you want to do will naturally allow that process of reimagining yourself and of rebuilding yourself to be a lot easier. It was I would assume it to be a much easier step for me to be able to do what I'm doing now based on being around you and seeing the work that you're doing and being able to take that and very quickly implement it into my own community and see the same type of results and rewards benefit from that. So one, thank you to you, but a message to the people as well is that the people you surround yourself with definitely are a massive contributor to the ease and experience of becoming the newest and best version of yourself.
Yeah, you only get as far as the people that you hang around for no reason.
You only get as far. You only get as far.
That on a hip hop intro.
Yeah,
that's a quote I heard on hip hop though.
That's a hip hop outro, not even intro. That's a hip hop outro.
Yeah. So there's that, man. And first I want to just thank you, bro, like for bigging me up, gassing me like that. It's definitely a trade-off, of inspiration, right, between the two of us. And I'm inspired by a lot of my homies as well. So we're gonna have a lot of guests that's fire on the podcast too.
Mm-hmm.
But we just want to acknowledge. I want to acknowledge personally too that I stand on the shoulders of a lot of people that have done this work before me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm put in this position by my folks, by the village that built me, and even by you and your family's way. Like, you know what I mean? Like all of that is the only reason I can sit here and talk. So hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I appreciate you. And we appreciate y'all in the audience. I don't know where you at with this. I think I want to get a story off it and we can walk up out of here.
The story is my girlfriend here. I can't do that.
No, I got a story.
I bet because I had one ready to go. So Nick, no.
Oh no. I got a story. Unless, anything else on that last just topic of growth and transition and, rebrand versus
many episodes coming. Many episodes coming.
Cool. So let me tell you, bro.
Story time, kids.
Let me tell you.
Roll it if you're rolling. Drink it if you drink it. It's about to be a real one. Baby.
Man, listen.
Bring the party favors.
Man, light. But so my I stayed like walking distance from my grandparents' place, right? And so they are in the midst of cutting the cord. They are getting rid of. I think my grandfather had a turbulent dialogue with the customer service representative for his cable company and was like,
boy.
We done with this. So they cut the cable stuff just on Wi-Fi. Their alternative of choice has been Fire Sticks. So I put a Fire Stick in their living room. I done put one in their bedroom. My grandma got a fly little setup in the bathroom. She wanted a third one for in there. So last time I was chilling over there, maybe 2 times ago, eating dinner or whatever, my grandpa said, hey, your grandmother needed a third Fire Stick for the bathroom and gave me $40.
Mm-hmm.
Gave me $30.
You're like, Grandpa, this ain't enough for a fire stick. He said, make it enough.
Make it. I'm sitting there eating. Sitting there eating his salmon, nigga. Ain't no. This ain't enough. It's a gesture of this is go get your grandma something, nigga. And as a gesture, nigga, this is $30.
Yeah.
Cool. Take the 30. Bet. A couple days later, I'm just running some errands. I'm around the hood. I'm like, all right, bet. There's a Target in Hyde Park. I'm like, all right, let me pull up to this Target real quick. Pull up to the Target. It was like, had to be a Saturday morning because I was preparing for something. I was preparing to watch the fights 2 weeks ago. So that's important because of what I picked up when I was in Target. So I go in Target.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I got to go get this fire stick. Walk straight up to the little electronic part of Target. They got the fire sticks. We in the hood. So they in this little case. They in this little plastic case.
Yeah. Bulletproof plastic, reinforced steel plastic.
Can't do nothing with this case. Pick up the case. You got to walk it to the counter. They got to uncase it for you.
They got to pick the lock just to prove they're worthy to unlock the case first.
So I grabbed that. That's in my hand. Important. Backing up just a few minutes. Important. When I walked in, I looked to my right. I looked to my left. I ain't see no little hand carts. Nah, everybody know. If you do the grocery shopping for your family, them times where you only need a couple things and you make that decision, like I ain't gonna get no little hand cart, but you end up with more things in your hands, and you probably should have grabbed a cart.
You here with it?
This is one of them times. So I got the little fire stick thing. Cool. I'm watching the fights tonight. Let me get my chaser. Walk over there. Little cranberry juice. Woo woo. Antioxidants. You know what I'm saying? Keep it light. You know what I'm saying? Grab the cranberry juice. Just a splash of it with the tequila and the ginger ale. I got the ginger ale at the crib. No, I didn't have ginger ale. So I grabbed the cranberry juice. I grabbed the ginger ale. I'm about to walk with the fire stick. I'm about to be gone. Then I walk past the aisle. They got liquor in Target. I don't even think about that. They got liquor in Target. Liquor got the little security locks on it. We in the hood.
We're in the hood. They got the black top on it. They got the black top on them.
Little black top. It's a little. It looked like I don't even know what it looked like, bro. It
looks like a cap.
Don't try to steal this.
It looks like don't try to steal this for sure.
For sure. So now I'm walking. I got the tequila. I got the cranberry juice. I got the ginger ale, and I got the fire stick all in my hand. Right. I'm walking up to the front. Walks by me. Bad little thing.
Oh boy.
Just minding their own business. I see it from my peripherals. I'm
How
walking
bad?
with all the stuff in my hand. I see it.
How bad is she?
I see it in my peripherals. I'm thinking in my head, what did you just say?
How bad is she?
How bad is she? I see it in my peripherals. I'm thinking, how bad is she? So my body is like, we about to look, but then I don't. You know what, nigga? Nah, man.
I won't do it.
Got my hands full of stuff. Even if she's bad, what am I about to do?
Put the things on the floor.
I don't even look. I guess in that moment when I decided not to look, I must have relaxed or did something. Because now the security cap on the tequila falls off. The security cap, the tequila's not loose. The bottle, I feel it. Let go. I stick my foot out real quick. Tequila bottle kick, come off my foot, go about 2 feet. Doesn't break.
Because the God serve is a forgiving God.
Just for even thinking about looking at it, man. But it goes like 2 feet. It goes like 2 feet, but it makes the whole bottle sound. Everybody in the store heard this nigga don't drop the bottle. I pick it up real quick, all the stuff in my hand. I pick it up. In my head, I'm thinking, good thing I didn't even make a gesture to even look at her, because if I would have looked at her, turned, and then dropped the bottle, it would have been I would have been even feeling more salty.
Yeah.
So, whatever, I'll take my licks. But I'm still holding the security cap. I go to pick up the tequila, whatever. I put the security cap down at the little, like, just somewhere where it's not supposed to be, but it wasn't supposed to fall off, so I just put it down. I get in line. I'm still a little flustered. It's 10 a.m. I didn't want to bring no attention that I was buying tequila.
I was just buying tequila at 10 a.m.
Come on, man. It was future planning, bro. I was being proactive. But I'm a little hot. You know, I'm just a little I'm sitting there, you know what I'm saying? This was supposed to be just a little quick run to Target. I'm not swagged out. I'm aware that there's a beautiful woman in the vicinity. I'm pretty sure she heard the bottle drop, probably turned around, looked at the dumbass nigga carrying all this shit. I'm sitting there, I'm in the line. Man, whatever. Walking through the line. Woman that works at Target is maybe 35, 36. Not my type. She's a black lady.
That means she's a big black lady, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't pick up on that correctly.
Nah, nigga, she's just too short for me. She's not my type, but I'm feeling flustered.
And also, not his type means she was not Latina and or ethnically ambiguous. Go on, brother. I'm sorry, Pimp, and I didn't mean to expose you like that, but go on. Fully transparent podcast. We live. Let's go, baby.
Hey, bro. See, I know I said earlier that like I'm cool building this shit up, but this is where I really need y'all to chime in the comments. Black ladies, please vouch. Please vouch.
By vouch, say what by vouch it means send DMs is what it means. Go ahead. So you're there in the line.
Yeah. She's not my type for whatever reason. I'm just not, or maybe I'm just too flustered or whatever, but I'm more in the mode of like, you know when something happened to you and it's fucked up and it's a little bit your fault, but it's not all the way your fault, but you want to tell somebody the reason why it's not your fault? Like I wanted to tell somebody like, hey, bro, so the security cap fell off. The security cap's supposed to stay on. Y'all security caps not tight. Somebody could steal your bottle, whatever. So she's directing people, that this lady that works at Target, she's directing people between the self-checkout and like they got a couple registers open. I get to the front of the line. Wanting to say, your security cap's all fucked up. That's why I dropped the bottle. If you heard that bottle drop earlier, I don't know. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I'm cool though.
I don't usually drop anything. I don't usually drop shit.
So she comes up, I got this fire stick thing. I need you to unlock this because that's still locked up. I still need them to unlock it. She like, all right, you can actually just go to self-checkout and I got you. And I was like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. Looking out, you know I dropped that bottle earlier. I heard that. I was, the little security thing is over here. Now at this point, she is fully engaging me. And I'm glad because I'm nervous and I'm able to get my shit off. But she's talking to me and I'm not really noticing in the moment. But now that I look back, she
throwing it at him. She throwing it at him. She tossing it at him.
Paying a lot of attention to me, what I'm saying. So now I'm in the scenario. I'm flustered. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The security thing over there, I don't know if you want me to go get it, whatever. Can you undo this fire stick box for me? Whatever. I'm never coming back in this store. This is a horrible experience. She's, no, you gotta come back to Target. So she walks away and comes back with the fire stick out of the box. All right, cool. I think I'm out of here. She puts it in the bag.
Yeah.
Puts it in the bag. I'm still talking. All right, thank you. Well, you just said
talking.
It's not gonna beep when I walk on out of here now. That's the last thing I need. No, you're good. She walks off. I look at the screen. $26.95.
Come on now, baby. Come on now, lady. Lady, you know I ain't gonna say nothing about this amount of money. You know I'm not gonna say anything about this amount of money.
What I said was she put the fire stick she took it out the case. We talking. She took it out the case, put it in the bag. In the bag where I'm loading the drinks and everything.
Ma'am,
I'm looking at the thing. It's $26.95.
If you ain't gonna adjust it, I ain't gonna bring it up.
So now I'm stuck. Now I'm sitting here. Wow. $26.95. That's $30. She didn't scan the fire stick.
Or the tequila.
But my granddad did pay me. No, she did. It was a 15. It was a little fifth.
Okay.
It wasn't John Bastille, so I only got a fifth because I had to tie myself over. But if we really buy tequila, we out here.
Sipping on John Bastille for sure.
Black
for sure. Shout out to Dweemo at John Bastille. Dweemo and his whole team out there. We support y'all. Friend of ours.
Fucked up. But I'm cheating on the tequila that I should buy anyway, so I should just run about this bitch. She shouldn't even pay for everything. You know what I'm saying? All this is flashing through my mind. But at the end of the day, I thought about, all right, I'm bringing this fire stick to my grandmother's house. Can't be bringing no stolen merchandise, regardless of if I got away with it.
House.
My grandmother's house.
So you tell her like,
I reached in the bag with all the shit that I paid for, grabbed the Fire Stick that is now out of its security case.
She like,
Boop, swipe that mug, put it back in the bag, walked on out. Now, I don't want no props for doing the right thing, but in that moment, it felt like it was all in my hands. Right and wrong.
the power
was all
was in
there.
his hands. Like,
was all
look, dude, I ain't saying you Jesus or nothing like that, but you definitely did the right thing. You definitely did the right thing.
Hey, bro. Man.
No, but you see, the thing about that though is that like if you take things, if you would have capitalized on that, karma has a way of coming back and being able to come back and take more. You put your Fire Stick and then your TV falls down.
See? And this is what I've been saying.
I know how karma works.
I'm so thankful that I can throw the alley-oops up there and you can bring in all the things that you said. So tying a nice, big, beautiful bow on this thing, man, as niggas that is still fearful as shit of karma, which has been a through line from the day we met, nigga. It's been me and you, and in the back seat, looking over nigga's shoulder, has been karma. And we've been riding steady head, steady hand, like you said, from the jump. So y'all, make sure y'all get right with karma. Make sure, even when nobody's watching, you be the best version of yourself, because that's what growth is about. That's what all this is about right here, baby, at the All the Way Live podcast. And if you don't mind, sir, I'm about to close us.
For sure. And listen, we got something, we're consistently growing this entire podcast. We're growing what it's gonna look like, what it's gonna feel like. I'm glad the audio things are being sorted out. We know that, from episode 1 to episode 2, we got that sorted out. We're gonna go take care of some visual things afterwards. So, this is a journey. If you've been listening to this long, shout out to you. You're a fan. We fucks with it. We're gonna keep working hard for just y'all. It's All the Way Live podcast, baby, every Friday. What it is.
Yes, sir. We're gonna chop this one up. Give y'all just the best bits. But man, do we appreciate y'all. We know you have entirely too many options when it comes to choosing a podcast. We appreciate you rocking with us. We appreciate you rocking with All the Way Live in the sense that we are celebrating life, live in the sense that we are celebrating Black life, live in the sense that we are working everything we are talking about, this podcast included. We're working it out in real time. We appreciate you. Thank you. Like that. Peace. Water. We gone.